Hello, everyone. This is B.Mack, and I am here to give back. This is Interview Tips 101. So, I have a lot of experience with interviews over the years. I'll give you a brief background. So, I started out, first job, McDonald's. You just got almost have to be just a human just to get, land that position as a kid. A lot of folks start out there. Worked at different plant jobs, got into IT, and then got into networking, blase, blase. So, what I want you to know is I've been to a lot of interviews, and I've failed a lot of interviews. Now, when I first started, missing out on job opportunities because of bad interviews, I would come home and beat up myself, get all mad at myself or whatever. But then one day it just clicked. I was like, let me start taking notes and taking their criticism, go home, fix it, go to the next one, and just keep building up until I'm that ideal candidate. Now, there's other stuff involved like education and doing your research and stuff like that, but you need to start somewhere. If you have no clue how an interview is going to go, I'll help you get through it right now. So first, read the job description. Whatever you're applying to, read the job description in its entirety. Some application processes will say, hey, note, this is due by the 29th. We need your transcripts, your DD-214s, or whatever they're called for military. We need all your documentation, your references, things like that. So that's for starters. But read that job description. The reason I say read the job description is because I'm just taking some examples from my field. It could say must have knowledge of Microsoft Word or Cisco or routers or switches. And in different instances, it might say some type of application in your field. Like if you're a nurse or at the hospital, it'd say you need to know X and you need to know Y. Well, think of it like this. This is what screws you up. A lot of folks get their lawyers or whoever to write their job descriptions, and it's like I tell anybody, a man might want Beyonce, right? But you'll settle for Kelly Rowland. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So that's how jobs look at it. It's like, here's the ideal candidate. But if you come in good enough, boy, we want you too. Or girl, we want you too. That's just how it is. So back to my example, let's say I want crochet braids. I'm a chick and I want crochet braids in my hair, right? And I tell you, hey, here's a solicitation for a job. I want crochet braids, right? As an interview person coming in, a person coming in for their interview, I don't want you coming in and saying, I'm a people person. Because we all live with people. Everybody's a people person. Or coming in saying, well, I can get you the Allen Iversons or the straight backs or a twist. It's like, no, I asked for crochet braids, right? So that's like a job description as well. Know something about what they're pitching. You see what I'm saying? What they're listing in the description. That should be common sense, but with interviews and job descriptions, a lot of folks get worked up. So here's what I do. Go through your job description. If you don't know much about some certain things, go through it line by line and Google it, YouTube it, see how it works. If it's say Microsoft Word, take your online Udemy or something class that's free, or just read certain guides or templates or something. Just look at YouTube, watch somebody do it. You go practice on your computer, you do it too. Okay, now you're proficient at Word or Office or whatever. You done been through it. Okay, check. It might say knowledge of Cisco, because I'm going to use my field, for example. Knowledge of Cisco. Go YouTube some Cisco stuff. Be able to talk the language of what they're asking for. You may not have as much experience with it, but if you set up a home lab or you just go through some guides, because that's what you're going to do at work. You don't know the answer, you're going to Google it or go through some guides. You need to start networking with people at work and see how they do stuff. get a vetted process in order to push through some of these things that you might have to do at work. But knowledge starts at home. What have you done at home for yourself? So, okay, that's grade A, how you get the interview. Your resume reflects their job description, not a cut and paste, but you have knowledge of it, right? Practice it, work on it, tune it, fine tune it. Hey, it's worth a shot. Now, I'm not going to make this video long, so I'm going to go straight to the interview. So, interviews are like going on a blind date. Here's what most folks do. You go into the interview and you're nervous and you're tight. It's like your knees and arms might need some WD-40, and you got this big old fake grin and your eyes are bucked and you're scared. Wrong. Only people need to do that as an intern or somebody just getting in the field, because that's understandable. That's more realistic. I wouldn't encourage it, but that's who I would expect to be nervous. And I'll say, hey, relax. So X that out. Don't be nervous. Go in there comfortable. Pretend you're about to go land the best job or land the best date. I know that makes folks nervous, but practice at home. Practice your interview before you go to the interview. Go up and down that job description and ask, hey, do you know about this? And then you write something down, say it. Practice your answers. One of the biggest flaws people do is go in there and talk bull jive. Do not make up something. If I say, have you had any experience with a Cisco switch 30, let's just make up one, 3560 or something like that. And the person comes in and says, yeah, so I know about the Cisco 3560. That's how I route my remote control cars. And so first thing I'm going to do is tap one of my coworkers on the shoulder, probably text him and say, this jackrabbit, like, what are you talking about? Like, don't play me. Say you don't know. That's better than saying, or say I can find out more about it. Be calm. So the next thing is, let me find my place. The next thing is, you're in an interview. Okay, you're not nervous. You're going to knock it out. You're not going to fabricate. You go in confident. You look sharp. You look nice. Don't go in there like Deacon Jones. Go in there like you work there or you belong. Go in there looking nice. Your pants pressed. You got a tie if it's that kind of environment. If not a tie, a nice blazer on top of your shirt. Make sure your suit fits. One time I went in and I accidentally wore my granddaddy's pants. My granddaddy is 6'4". I'm 5'9". I did not get that job. I knew it. And when I left the interview, I met up with somebody and they said, I know you didn't go to that interview looking like that. Yes, I did. My bad. So look the part. That's always good. Just don't look like Superfly and don't look like you're a second away from unemployment line. The next thing is go in confident. We covered that. You go in comfortable, confident, not too boastful, but confident. You've already practiced at home. You've already went through the job description. And you be straight up, straightforward with them. They ask you questions like, hey, tell me about yourself. I don't know why tell me about yourself makes everybody nervous. It used to make me nervous. And then I looked in the mirror one day. I said, I know myself. I can tell you about myself. I've been in the Army. I did this. I did this in the Army. I did X, Y, Z in the Army. I got my certifications. I'm working on my degree. I'm doing this. So what I do is say a timeline. And I used to start from, I'm from Athens and I was in the military. But the best way to do it is, what are you currently working on? Hey, I do cybersecurity, RMF accreditation, we get ATOs, blah, 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 ABC, 1, 2, 3. And then I say I was in the military, did Signal, did IT, did this, that. I used to work for XYZ company on a certain project. I worked for another company on a certain project. That's it. But see, what I do also in there is, remember I told you to practice that job description? Throw in a lot of stuff from that job description in that tell me about yourself scenario. The reason why I say that is, if you tell about yourself and have expressed the level of, like Stephen A. Smith say, maturation on your experience, and that you're knowledgeable of what they're doing already, or what their job description says already, then hey, you just cut out a lot of questions they was about to ask you. That will show them, hey, boom, he's cool. Another way to skip a lot of questions is having your certifications. If you have your, let's say, I'm going to keep it IT. If you have your CCNA, CCNP, I'm not going to ask you what is a router per se. You know, I might ask you protocols and stuff like that, but I'm not going to ask you questions that would demean your level of skill. But that's the, let me tell you about myself part. Okay, you're going to get hit with some questions. So, like I said, the next questions are going to be based on that job description per se. Now, the third type question is situational. How would you handle a certain situation? You got pressure, this, that, and the third. You know, how would you handle this situation if all the switches go down, or the hospital's power went out, or we can't get communication anywhere? How would you handle that? Practice those type of questions. Relay it back to some of your previous experience. YouTube those experiences. Do something. No, be knowledgeable. Do your homework at home, and go to that interview knowing, hey, I'm a good candidate. I may or may not get this job, but I know I showed out. You know, that's my main point. Do your stuff at home. It took me a long time to find that out. I was going to them interviews worried, like, I don't know what they're gonna ask. They telling you what they're gonna ask. Maybe not in depth, but if you'll know what they're gonna ask if you go through that job description, you get in depth with it a little bit, and certain stuff will just come out. You know, certain stuff you'll read about. Let's take Microsoft Word, for instance, right? I say you're proficient in Microsoft Word. So I'm not going to say, are you proficient in Microsoft Word? Or if I do, the next follow-up question will be, so let's say you got a 10,000 page document and it's one word in there. It's rooted tooty. That's the word I want you to find in there. How would you do that? Now, you don't need to sit up there and say, I'm going to comb through every line to find rooted tooty. No, you're going to control find or control F, or do the search, or click the find button up top and type in rooted tooty, right? So that's just an example. But hey, I hope this has been helpful. If you got any questions or anything, just let me know. These are my baseline tips to make anybody get a job. Now, I'll go over resumes next. I'll have you in the dough to be the president or secretary of state. But it's baby steps. Learn how to get through that interview first. We'll cover, if we get enough likes and stuff like that, I'll do one on resumes. I'll get you in the door. All I request is a tip somewhere down the line. Pay me going forward. You shining bright at a new job makes me feel better. Makes me happy. You know, that's just how I roll. So, like, subscribe, do whatever. This the interview dog.